Pastor Zillinger's Daily Devotions. Today we look at the Psalms, and we're in Psalm 116, verses 10 through 19. I believed, even when I spoke. I am greatly afflicted. I said in my alarm, all mankind are liars. What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits to me? I will lift up the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. O Lord, I am your servant. I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have loosed my bonds. I will offer to you the sacrifice of thanksgiving and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of the Lord. In your midst, O Jerusalem, praise the Lord. Now, when you listen to this psalm, you should have some bells ringing in your ears, some echoes, if you would, of our liturgy. And we have it in our offertory that we have, or our psalms or songs of thanksgiving. What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits to me? I will lift the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. This is talking about our thanksgiving to God. Now, in some of this is, what can I pay back God for all the things he's done for me? Now, the answer to that is you can't. You can't pay back God for all the things. Now, you might say in Thanksgiving, I want to do something in response to what God has given to me. So, for instance, when all my family's home for worship service, I would like to pay a little bit extra or give a little extra in my offering. Or we'd like to join together and do a service project together. Or we'd like to maybe do something for the homeless or food pantry or something like that, and where people will say, well, I want to give a thank offering. I want to do something in thanks, but it's not paying back God because we can't. And in this, it talks about lifting up the cup of salvation. We can't pay back God. We can't render back to the Lord for all his benefits to us. So we take up the cup of salvation. We take up the gift he's given us. In fact, you look at this even as a kind of a mirror or a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ and the Last Supper and us taking communion as well. We're like, we just receive gifts. And really, that's what grace is about. We receive gifts from God. We never can pay him back or do something. It's a mercy, it's a grace, it's undeserved. And then it talks about paying our vows. And this is something as Christians, I think sometimes we don't do as much or think about as much. That when we promise something, we should uphold our word. Now, there's a lot of things that we take vows for. Maybe military, maybe wedding, maybe baptismal vows, confirmation vows, things like that, which are all good. We should take them seriously. And I think in singing this or reading this, we say, I want to take my vows seriously. Not that I'm doing something for God, that he would give me a cookie or pat me on the back, but to say in thanksgiving, look, God, you've done this for me, and I want to live my life differently. I want to say your word. I want to live out your word in whatever I do. Now, if it's a small vow, hopefully that you're able to accomplish it. And if you're ever a vow breaker, I always encourage you to ask for forgiveness of sins and live differently after that. But to have good vows to the Lord, to say yes to the things that he's given us, and to declare and confess through these things what God has given us. The Lord bless your day as well as your week.